Robert Louis Stevenson once said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seed that you plant." Welcome to Speaking from the Heart, a podcast where faith and life intersect. Hi, I'm Richard Fontaine, and I'm happy that you've joined us today because this episode is all about a truth so simple, yet so powerful. It has the potential to change your business, your work, and your life. And here it is. What we seed is what we receive. Now, we'll dig into how this spiritual principle, rooted in gospel universal teachings, plays out in the way we lead, live, and love. And especially in today's noisy, chaotic, and fast-paced world. When we think about it in the silence of our own hearts, we can all live with sowing seeds in business, work, and in life. And in fact, we sow seeds every day through our thoughts, words, actions, and intentions. We may be running a small business, leading a team, raising a family, or working behind the scenes. But we can be assured that our daily decisions are planting something. The way we treat our colleagues, how we speak to our clients, our patience with our customers, our mentorship to staff, our relationships with our families and friends, and even our own self-talk. All of it is planting seeds. And here's the twist. What we plant, we will eventually harvest. Maybe not right away, but the soil of our life always gives back what we plant. And sometimes we even see a multiplier effect. Now let's root this in Scripture. Here I am paraphrasing Paul, who teaches us in Galatians chapter 6. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. People reap what they sow. So sow from the Spirit and live in the Spirit and reap the rewards. And the ultimate reward for those who believe is everlasting life. Now, this is both a caution and a comfort. Paul's words remind us we are always planning. So let's plant with intention and with grace. In the gospel, Jesus also tells us about the parables of the sower, emphasizing how seeds grow differently depending on where they land. But only the seeds that land on fertile soil will grow and bear fruit. And Jesus' message is the same as Paul's. Plant good things within, and you will bear fruit without. In business, we suggest making leadership all about sowing the seeds of trust. So let's say you're a leader in a small organization. You consistently choose to be transparent with your team, and even when it's hard or difficult. You don't just want to focus on results. You pour your time into coaching, listening, and encouraging. And those actions may seem small, but they're seeds. Weeks and months, and maybe even years later, your team shows up with loyalty, creativity, and initiative. And that's your harvest. You seeded trust and reaped commitment. Now, it's easy to think that big moments define leadership, but it's really the small intentional seeds planted daily that shape the culture. Now, think about a personal moment. maybe a conflict with a colleague or a family member. You could sow defensiveness, blame, or gossip. Or you could sow the seeds of grace, listening, and responding with calmness, asking for clarity rather than assuming the worst. Now, assuming the worst doesn't feel as satisfying as sowing with positivity. Sowing seeds of grace yields long-term benefits, including healthier relationships, mutual respect, and inner peace. Now, Jesus constantly sowed grace amid conflict, even with those who opposed him. His life teaches us you don't have to agree with someone to sow the seeds of love. Now, let's take a few minutes to reflect on today's message. What insight, word, or phrase resonated with you? What touched your heart? What can you do to turn this teaching into action or enrich your business, work, or your life? And how can you share your reflection with others? Let me know in the comments about how you acted on today's message. I'd love to hear what seed is taking root in your life. Now, if this message spoke to you today, take a moment to subscribe, give us this episode a thumbs up, and share it with a friend, a coworker, or a family member. You never know who needs a little encouragement to plant something quite beautiful. Join me next time on Speaking from the Heart as we challenge the prevailing cultural mindset. In an age that often glorifies individualism, self-protection, and self-promotion, and competition, we are taking a contrarian position that communities built on love are not only possible, they are essential. Until then, keep planting love and trust the harvest is on its way. I'm Richard Fontenay signing off until next time. If we don't meet before then, bye for now.